check, mic check. Welcome back to the N.y.a show. Another week. I'm seeing testing. Welcome back to the N.y.a show. Hope everybody has had a great week as we cruise on into Saturday. All my great people. The week for us was great. I don't know my lovers. I'm seeing since the last show. All my lovers out there. Hope you had a great Valentine's Day. Took my beautiful wife out and my children. We had a great time. I was looking back through my pictures real quick, like what was going on in this past week. But that was a great thing for the beginning of in the end of the last week. Slow motion really throughout the week. For the most part, I did do some additional side work, like maybe Thursday of this week, and got out and was just brainstorming a lot of good stuff. A lot of great things come when I do my side gig and I'm out there. When I'm out there working, your mind just start thinking of other things that you want to do with your future as well. So that was a great time. And did house hunting. Been doing some house hunting. Of course, I'm gonna put it on here to kind of let everybody know how that process goes once it's all said and done. But did some house hunting, so everything is really just in a real, real positive, good place. There was a great program that went on at the church on Sunday. Black History presentation, literally showing how quilt designs and quilts were messages for that former enslaved African was sending to each other as you pass through different places. So I won't hold up too much time. I'll get to going, but this N.y.a show. I appreciate y'all for supporting the last show. Always support Spirit Arrested, which is an award-winning short film by W3 Filmed It. Be sure to check that out. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please continue to support this great project, as well as How Mothers Advance a Life in the Pursuit of Dreams. Interview with Breyonna and Thomas by Ajay Tambe, available on Spotify. Now, let's run through some stories that we have for this week. Quick hit stories. Here is persecution.org. Congolese Christian massacre amid terrorist events in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo over in Africa in the DRC. There's a conflict going on. Of course, that conflict comes with what, as they always say, bodies. Recent weeks have brought a wave of concerning news from Central African Democratic Republic of Congo. There, terrorist forces are sweeping through large tracts of land in seas and seas, enlightening offense that has rapidly shifted the front lines of a decades-long conflict that killed about 6 million people and displaced many more. So look at the numbers we already talked about, everybody. This week, local sources revealed the massacre of 70 Christians in DRC's Eastern Liberal territory near the country's border with Uganda and Rwanda. While no group has formally taken responsibility for the attack, reports indicate that the Allied Democratic Forces, ADF, were responsible. Members of the militia reported members of the military reportedly detained many Christian villagers before tying them up in a local Protestant church and decapitating them with machetes. Oh, I hope that don't get flagged on TikTok. I'm just reading the story as it's there. Responding to ADF attack in January that left 15 dead, pastors in North Kivu province told International Christian Concern, ICC, that the violence often targets Christians and has decimated churches. We are no longer talking about simple violence, one pastor said. We are losing fellow innocent Christians time and again. Our churches are now remaining empty, and people of the Lord are suffering, and it's just not bearable to watch. The ADF is one of the many African terrorist organizations aligned with the jihadist Islamic State movement. It stands out among the country's 120 militant groups for its brutal tactics and explosive animosity towards Christianity. Other militant group known as M23 is backed by neighboring Rwanda and has taken over multiple cities since January, including Goma, which I was going to talk about on the earlier show, a major regional hub and capital of North Kivu province. In response to U.S. sanction, a Rwanda government official and another individual associated with M23 in the DRC, though Rwanda denies supporting M23, years of mounting evidence have proved that Rwanda is deeply involved in supporting the group's activities. The UN peacekeepers in the country are working to protect hundreds of thousands displaced during this time. In recent years, the UN mission has become increasingly unpopular with the Congolese government. In December 2023, the UN Security Council approved a withdrawal after Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi requested a fast-track withdrawal some months earlier. The first phase of withdrawal was focused on the bases in South Kivu, province, with UN troops leaving Ituri and North Kivu province, where the violence is concentrated later in 2024. Be sure that you leave your comments on this story here. About 70 people, Christians at that, have lost their life in a continuing mounting problem that continues to be funded and backed the same way that we have these proxies that we back and that we support, and they go and do these crazy things. They're talking about Rwanda with the M23. There's still people that are funding these side groups that wreak terror on everybody else. So let me know what y'all comments are on that story about just people being having this taking off in the midst of war that just doesn't seem to ever stop. Like I said, they 6 million up. It's 6 million people up in bodies, and still can't come to an agreement to get it all on one accord. So I guess we'll just continue to see the same pattern. Rage-filled maniac who attacked driver with a hatchet in road rage got sentenced. Okay, an Oregon man who attacked a man with a hatchet outside the victim's home after a road rage incident learned his fate. Joseph Caston, 33, will spend 42 months or 3.5 years in prison for the 2023 attack that wounded Matt Griffin. Chaston learned his fate on Friday after pleading guilty to charges of attempted assault in first-degree murder. In the first degree. After pleading guilty to charges of attempted assault in the first degree, Mr. Chastain was intent on assaulting me, and after a violent attempt on my life, he succeeded. Griffin told the circuit court judge Kelly Scott, the Oregon reported. Let me see. The road rage incident happened on August 12th of 2023, just after 11 p.m. when Chaston cut Griffin off on a road and Griffin humped at him. Then Chaston chased him, got to the man's house, jumped out of the vehicle with something dark in his hand. They was wilding. He jumped out with something dark in his hand, and then he thought it was a gun, but it was actually a hatchet, where he hacked at the man. The dude Griffin got 2 broken bones and a 6-inch gash on his leg that the police put in a tourniquet to control the bleeding. The police arrested Chaston months later at his house, where they found the goddamn hatchet. At the trial, Chaston's attorney claimed the victim's wound was self-inflicted, says the biomechanics expert and radiologist determined it was consistent with a swing and a miss injury. Griffin called out that claim in court. Not only is Mr. Chastain a rage-filled maniac, he's also a disgusting liar, Griffin said. The prosecutor said there is no doubt about what happened that night. No doubt about what happened that night. This man has been sentenced for attacking a man in a road rage incident. And I only say that you point out things like this because you got people that really lose their life behind stuff like this. Even with a 3.5 year, I can get out and still get you, dog. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, when it comes to a lot of these situations like this. So be sure that you let me know what y'all thoughts on this story. Road rage incidents go all type of ways, but to follow me to my house, he lucky he didn't catch a hot one in his ass. You know what I'm saying? He lucky that he got a couple hacks at him, broke a nigga bone and shit. But to be honest, you followed me all the way to my house and thought that it was okay to do that. Nah, man, the kids would have been coming outside with the sticks. You hear me? I'm saying, okay, so now in South Sudan, South Sudan closes schools after students collapse due to extreme heat. So my young niggas is hot as a motherfucker. Out in South Sudan on Thursday, they announced the closure of all schools for 2 weeks, ongoing extreme heat wave that has caused students to collapse. This is the second time that the country, which faces extreme, effects from climate change, including flooding during the rainy season, has closed schools during a heat wave in February and March. Deputy Education Minister Martin Tako Mio said Thursday an average of 12 students have been collapsing in Juba City every day. Most schools in South Sudan have makeshift structures made with iron sheets and do not have electricity that could power cooling systems. So you can only imagine how hot it gets when people are just trying to pursue their education. Environmental Minister Josephine Napon Cosmos on Thursday urged residents to stay indoors and drink water as temperatures were expected to rise as high as 107 degrees. They proposed that the students the government employees work in shifts to avoid heat strokes. Education workers urged the government to consider amending the school calendar so that schools are closed in February and resume in April when the temperature declines. Have some damn sense, man. I wouldn't even be sending my goddamn kids to no school in no hot ass weather like that. A civil society group, Integrity South Sudan, blamed the government blame the government for a lack of proper planning for this, and says that the closing school during heat wave shows a failure to prioritize the education of South Sudan's the children. So they're not, yeah, that goes to show on that as well. And let me go back. Yes, I know that I can't just say I want to send my kid to school if I gotta go to work and all these other situations like that. But 107 degrees, I'll go to work in there to hustle to make a dollar for my kids in 107. That's how it's a motherfucker. But I do not want my kids going to school during that time. The country's health system is fragile during the political instability. Nearly 400,000 people were killed during between 2023 and 2018 when a peace agreement was signed by President Salva Kiir and his rival turned deputy Riek Machar. South Sudan's elections scheduled for last year were postponed for 2 years during the lack of funds. The country has been facing an economic crisis due to an interruption of oil exports after a major pipeline was ruptured in a neighboring war-torn Sudan. The pipeline was later repaired. Dang, man, South Sudan closed their school because it's too goddamn hot. Over 107 degrees, them kids hot as a motherfucker. Time to be at the crib. Y'all let me know what y'all thoughts on this story. Would you send your damn kids to school? It's 107 goddamn degrees, or would you try to work something out? There's a lot of water drinking going on. Just to let you know that in certain parts of the world, it gets hot as a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Nothing you can really do other than try to get some better infrastructure, try to make sure that the schools have some goddamn indoor heat, some central air. It's the N.y.a show, y'all. Let me know what y'all thoughts on this story, as well as my last story about the rage-filled man gets sentenced attacking a man with a machete at his house after he got humped at. Then a Congolese over in the DRC, Congolese Christians were massacred. 70 people lost their lives. It's the N.y.a show. Let me know what y'all thoughts on this story, and please continue to support the show as always. And I'll be back with another show. It's the N.y.a show.